Cinderella, a story of kindness and patience. Once upon a time, in a quaint little home on the outskirts of the kingdom, a kind-hearted young girl named Cinderella lived with her cruel stepmother, Lady Tremaine, and her two selfish stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella. She spent her days doing endless chores while they lounged about, ordering her around. One morning, as Cinderella swept the dusty floors, Anastasia twirled her hair and whined, "Mother, I need a new dress for the royal ball. This old thing simply won't do." Drizella scoffed. "You? If anyone deserves a new dress, it's me. I'll be the one to catch the prince's eye." Lady Tremaine smirked over her tea. "We shall see, my dears. But first, Cinderella." Cinderella paused her sweeping and turned with a polite smile. "Yes, stepmother. The floors need scrubbing, the fireplace needs cleaning, and the dishes are piling up. Make yourself useful." Cinderella nodded gracefully. "Of course, stepmother." As she worked tirelessly, a trumpet sounded outside. A royal messenger arrived, unrolling a grand scroll. "By order of His Majesty, the King, a grand ball shall be held at the palace. Every young lady in the kingdom is invited to attend." Anastasia and Drizella shrieked in delight. "The prince will be there." Drizella gasped. "Imagine if one of us became a princess," Anastasia added. Lady Tremaine turned to Cinderella with a sly smile. "You may attend if you finish all your chores and find something suitable to wear." Cinderella's heart fluttered with hope. Could this be her chance? That evening, she rushed to her attic room and pulled out her mother's old gown. With the help of her loyal animal friends, she lovingly mended it, adding delicate ribbons and beads. As she admired herself in the mirror, her stepsisters barged in. Anastasia sneered. "Where did you get that?" Drizella grabbed a ribbon. "That's my sash." Before Cinderella could protest, they tore the dress apart, ripping the sleeves and pulling off the beads. Laughing cruelly, they left her in tears. Heartbroken, she clutched the ruined gown, sobbing. Fleeing to the garden, Cinderella wept beneath a large tree. A soft glow surrounded her, and a gentle voice hummed a melody. She looked up to see a kind woman with silver hair and a twinkling wand. "My dear, why do you cry?" the woman asked warmly. Cinderella sniffled. "I had hoped, just for one night, to be free." The fairy godmother smiled. "Then free you shall be. Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo." Before Cinderella's eyes, a pumpkin transformed into a magnificent carriage, mice became elegant horses, and her tattered rags turned into a shimmering blue gown. The fairy godmother held out a pair of glass slippers. "These shall carry you through the night. But remember, my magic fades at midnight." With tears of gratitude, Cinderella whispered, "Thank you, fairy godmother. I won't forget this night." At the grand palace, golden light illuminated the ballroom. The prince watched the guests, bored until Cinderella arrived. As she descended the staircase, all eyes turned to her. Her gown shimmered like the night sky. The prince stepped forward. "May I have this dance?" Cinderella hesitated, then placed her hand in his. They glided across the floor, lost in each other's eyes, the world fading around them. But as the clock struck 12, Cinderella gasped. "I must go," she cried, dashing down the steps. In her haste, she lost a glass slipper. The prince picked it up, determination gleaming in his eyes. The next morning, the kingdom buzzed with excitement. The prince had ordered that every maiden try on the glass slipper. At Cinderella's home, Anastasia and Drizella forced their feet in, but to no avail. Lady Tremaine smirked, ready to dismiss the prince's servant, when Cinderella stepped forward. "May I try?" The room fell silent. The servant placed the slipper on Cinderella's foot. It fit perfectly. The prince's face lit up as he stepped forward. "It's you, my princess." Cinderella smiled, her eyes brimming with joyful tears. The kingdom rejoiced as Cinderella and the prince were wed in a grand celebration. As she stood on the palace balcony, she waved to the people not as a princess, but as a kind girl whose patience and goodness had led her to happiness. As the wind whispered through the air, she heard the familiar voice of her fairy godmother. "Kindness and patience, my dear, will always be rewarded." Cinderella smiled, knowing in her heart that her story had truly begun.